What's up, YouTube? This is Morgan, also known as Jew, and this week Georgia Tech is going to be playing against Virginia, and this is going to be my thoughts of what Georgia Tech can do to win, what they will need to do to win in particular, and just an outlook for an exciting Thursday night game that we will have at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, I think the biggest change that everybody has seen, not even necessarily from just changing from Jeff Collins to Brent Key, but a big change this year in general was limiting a lot of turnovers, as Jeff Sims did make a lot of plays where yeah, he'll make some really star-studded plays and he'll make some really what are you doing plays, and a lot of the more of those what are you doing plays, it's dropped significantly. There's been quite a few this season, and I feel like that's with a lot of people. There's still plays like that, but this season has dropped a lot less, as he only has 2 interceptions on the season. There's no real fumbles, so we're winning the turnover battle, which is a huge component for what we're going to need to do against Virginia. Virginia being a lot more disappointing than expected to begin the year. Virginia was one of my wins before the season. I was projecting Georgia Tech to have a 3-win season, being Western Carolina, Duke, and Virginia. Those are going to be the 3. Virginia Tech was a 4th toss-up. But Virginia was expected to have a much better year than they're currently having, and they're 2-4. Now, some of their losses are to Illinois, who has proven to be a very good team, Syracuse, who's proven to be a much better team than people thought, and Duke, which is a much better coach team with more consistent quarterback play. Those are 3 of their losses. Who is the... Let me check who the 4th one is. Their only other loss being at home versus Louisville. Louisville is more of an offensive team than anything else, but even with that being said, the biggest thing is just force the Virginia Cavaliers to make mistakes. So win the turnover battle again. Georgia Tech has done a fantastic job in turnover differential. I believe they're tops of the ACC. They're near the top in turnover differential, and that's what they did against Duke. They didn't turn the ball over. They had some punts, but that's not turning the ball over. You're not letting them get a free possession with good field goal position, and force Duke to just their 3rd turnover in general of the season. Biggest thing is our linebacker core with Charlie Thomas and Ace Ely. They're creating a lot of disruption, forcing pressure and dropping back in coverage, and just making sure guys don't get through tackles. Another big adjustment that's been seen this season is going to be stopping the run game. The run game still sometimes gets 4 to 5 yards, but they're not getting that extra extension. There's a lot more effort in trying to get these guys tackled. So we're not seeing the 10, 15-yard runs that we were seeing against Ole Miss and we were seeing against UCF. That was before the Brent Key era. The running game has helped, like the lack thereof, at least, of running game has helped Georgia Tech in general. The pass defense is still a little bit iffy, and obviously the stats are a little bit inflated. Having 3 losses to 3 really good programs in general, being Clemson, Ole Miss, and UCF. Those are just the only 3 losses of the season. Georgia Tech is actually favored in this game for the first time for the first FBS game all year, and I think that's huge. Like, yes, Virginia is struggling, but that means we have to go out and win. The atmosphere at Bobby Dodd on Thursday night is going to be electric. It's always electric on Thursday night, no matter how good or bad the team is doing. It's just a different feeling when you're at Bobby Dodd on a Thursday night, especially against a Virginia school. Sadly, I won't get to be there. I couldn't get off of work for it, dealing with the whole sickness and all. I just can't get off work. I will watch it still, but I can't give a thought on the feeling of the stadium. I'll try my best, and I'll keep updated with the game, obviously. Another key factor is we need a more dual game from Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims using both sides of his what's the word? Prowess. I'll use that. His talent. He's become a much more gifted passer, and it's not just he's seeing, like, you see the flash of potential, but it's like, no. He's become a lot more decision-making based passer, and I think with him using his legs a lot more now, it makes him a much more deadly weapon, which makes Georgia Tech's offense even better. I gotta check. I don't know if we get Malachi Carter back, So Malachi Carter is expected to be back and playing, which gives us a little bit more buff at the wide receiver position. The talent of Leo Blackburn obviously being there still, having another big receiver. So we're going to have Nate McCullum, Malachi Carter, Leo Blackburn, EJ Jenkins. The wide receiving core is becoming a lot more prominent and not just one to two guys in Malachi Carter and Nate McCullum making these plays. There's a lot more playmakers at the wide receiver position. And Hassan Hall is a playmaker out the backfield. So letting these guys be in space and make plays is probably the best key component for them. So let them make plays. That's just that's the key for Georgia Tech's success. And obviously, getting pressure is going to be huge for Georgia Tech's defense. But they have to force mistakes. That's how we're going to beat the Virginia team. Last year, they were a top-ranked offense, and this season they returned a lot of similar guys, a lot of key guys, but their offense has struggled. We need to keep them and limit them to keep struggling. For Georgia Tech to be able to pull out another win. Georgia Tech is currently projected to make a bowl game. I believe the projected wins that we're having is Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Miami. All three very struggling teams, and all three very winnable games, honestly. It all just comes down to the game planning for the week, injuries, barring nothing goes wrong, and just keep playing the way that Georgia Tech is playing and show that there's good football in this football team. So yeah, that's really my thoughts on this game. I know it's kind of all over the place. It's really hard to find research on this game because it's not that big. But yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. If anything else, any key components you think that would be in the game, please comment them down below. Please subscribe if you like content like this. We're pushing up on 70 subscribers, and I know that's not a huge milestone, but I really appreciate everybody that has subscribed. Even getting past 5 was a huge shock for me, so I really, really appreciate it. Like the video, comment anything you'd like to see future or thoughts on the game that's upcoming. Subscribe. I'm going to be out. Deuces. That was really fucking cringe.